This ad appeared in the streets of Paris last spring. Is it Dior? Is it Celine? Is it Chloe? No, it's Shein. Don't be fooled by neutral color palette, soft lighting, modern and clean style. Apparently, when greenwashing isn't enough, you just upgrade to French luxury washing. Hi, my name is Rita, and on this channel I talk about French culture and life in France. If you're interested, you might want to click on the subscribe button below. So let's take a closer look at how a fast fashion giant is trying to dress itself up as haute couture. Shein could have chosen New York, London, Madrid or Milan, but they chose France because we convinced them that this is where the new model should be born. Meet Frédéric Merlin, a cheerful owner of BHV, a legendary Parisian department store. He posted these words on Instagram with a photo of himself and Donald Tang, the CEO of Shein. The backlash was immediate. BHV is partnering with the devil, a national disgrace. The wolf is entering the sheepfold. A petition against Shein's arrival at BHV exceeds 80,000 signatures. What is going on? Shein arrived in France in 2015 and has grown rapidly in recent years. In 2024, the brand represented 3% of all clothing and footwear spending in France, an enormous share in a market that's usually very fragmented. Just 3 years earlier, in 2021, it held less than 1%. In other words, the company has almost tripled its market share in just a few years, and in France alone. And because it wasn't enough, the Shein brand is now arriving in France with physical stores. 6 stores in total will open starting in November. Shein will occupy 1,000 square meters in the historic BHV Marais department store, then will install in Galeries Lafayette in 5 other French cities. But what is BHV Marais and why are French people so shocked? BHV stands for Bazar de l'Hôtel de Ville, which simply means City Hall Bazaar, because it is located just across from Paris City Hall. The store opened its doors in 1856. This is when François-Xavier Ruel and his wife Marie-Madeleine settled at the corner of Rue de Rivoli and Rue des Archives and opened their very first hosiery counter. Ideally located, this small family business soon prospered and expanded. François-Xavier Ruel diversified into hardware and the sale of toys and trinkets as early as 1860, acquiring adjacent shops barely 2 years after opening his business. 10 years after opening, the store was renamed Grand Bazar de l'Hôtel de Ville. It became the first shop in Paris to sell items with price tags at fixed affordable prices. This attracted customers from the middle class and even working class families. Yeah, you heard that right. Before the 19th century, stores in France didn't have fixed prices. Customers had to negotiate and haggle with the shop owner to agree on a price. In French, this bargaining system is called le marchandage. In the early 1800s, things started to change and some fashion stores began displaying fixed prices. Later, big department stores like Au Bon Marché adopted the same approach. The results were impressive. Bon Marché's sales jumped from 500,000 francs to 72 million in about 15 years. Back to BHV. Over time, François-Xavier kept growing his business. He added new products and bought all the buildings on the block between Rue des Archives, Rue de Rivoli, Rue du Temple and Rue de la Verrerie. By 1895, the store was already calling itself the largest and best value in the world. On October 6, 1913, the new Grand Bazar de l'Hôtel de Ville opened after 21 months of construction. The building was completely renovated and made even bigger. Architect Auguste Roy built a round hall at the corner of Rue du Temple, inspired by the one at Printemps Haussmann. The new building started to attract people who came just to look at how elegant it was. The impressive dome, built in the Art Nouveau style, is still the symbol of the department store today. Today, the store offers a diverse range of products combining fashion, beauty, decoration, DIY, lifestyle and urban culture. Among the brands there is Sandro, Mage, The Couples, Levi's, Lancel, Veja, as well as a selection of independent designers on its fashion and accessories floors, such as Le Slip Français, Aimé, Armor Luxe or Cabaya. And now, Shein. If you live on this planet, you've already heard of Shein. Ultra cheap, ultra fast, ultra everywhere. But behind the low prices lies a machine changing fashion, consumption, and even politics in Europe. Shein started in 2012 in China, selling only online. It didn't open stores, it didn't wait for trends, it hunted them. The result? The brand exploded. By 2022, Shein made $23 billion with 16,000 employees, becoming one of the fastest growing fashion companies in the world. How did they do that? A simple formula: tiny prices, a massive catalog, and aggressive marketing. Shein scans social media, copies trends, and pushes them online in days. And it works. And this machine comes with consequences. Environmental groups accuse Shein of fueling overconsumption. According to AFP, more than 7,000 new items are added every single day, and 99% of their deliveries travel by plane. Fast fashion has never been this fast or this polluting. And beyond the environment, serious ethical concerns keep emerging. In 2022, Bloomberg linked Shein products to cotton from Xinjiang, where China is accused of forced labor and crimes against humanity. Shein's cheap clothes may have a price, but not one paid by the customer. In France, almost 1 out of every 2 people now sees Shein in a negative light, and many say the clothes feel cheap. And here's another telling detail. 2/3 of the population haven't bought a single item from Shein in the past 6 months. But there is one exception: younger shoppers. About 43% of people aged 18 to 34 are still attracted by the ultra-low prices. After that, the interest drops. 38% for those aged 35 to 55, and only 19% for people over 55. So the pattern is pretty clear. The older you are, the less likely you are to fall for Shein's strategy. So now comes the real question. If Shein is criticized, accused of greenwashing, ethical violations, unsafe products, why is the brand doubling down on Europe, opening showrooms, buying competitors, launching massive PR campaigns? Well, last summer something big happened in the US. Donald Trump removed a tax exemption that allowed cheap packages under $800 to enter the country without customs fees. Thanks to that loophole, Shein and its rival Temu could ship ultra-cheap clothes directly from China, tax-free. But now, there's a 30% import tax. Result, sales are slowing down in the US and both platforms are pivoting straight towards Europe. And you can see it in the numbers. In France alone, Shein increased its advertising budget by 45% in just 1 year. Temu went even harder, up 115%. Meanwhile, on the other side of the Atlantic, both brands are quietly cutting back on US advertising. The strategy is obvious. Abandon the battlefield where it's getting expensive and double down where the door is still wide open. Which brings us to the question everyone asked when the scandal broke. Why on earth would BHV accept such a controversial partnership? And why was Frédéric Merlin, its owner, so enthusiastic about it? And first of all, who is Frédéric Merlin? Frédéric Merlin is a Lyon-born entrepreneur born in 1991, and today he's the president of the SGM Group, the company that owns BHV and several Galeries Lafayette stores across France. The legend says he started everything with just a €15,000 student loan. Not bad. With that money, Frédéric and his sister launched a company in office real estate. Then, in 2018, they created the Société des Grands Magasins, with Frédéric as president, his sister as CEO, and their mother as deputy director. And from that point on, no more offices. The Merlin family went all in on a bold idea: buying failing shopping centers in medium-sized cities close to TGV stations. Locations that had potential, but needed a savior. And it worked. So in 2022, Merlin made his biggest move yet. SGM took over 7 struggling Galeries Lafayette stores in the provinces. A huge risk. One expert said, "The department store model is the one that has suffered the most. It takes real boldness to take them over." But boldness is Frédéric Merlin's whole personality, because at the end of 2023 he went even further. He bought BHV. And then, well, you know the rest. A massive shitstorm. The first to attack the partnership was the French Federation of Women's Ready-to-Wear. Its president, Yann Rivolon, told Libération that BHV was basically making a deal with the devil. Right after that, Galeries Lafayette publicly distanced itself and even said it would block Shein from opening in any of its stores run by SGM. Litigation lawyers must have popped champagne that day. It didn't stop there. Ariel Levy, president of the collective Another Fashion is Possible, launched a petition called Paris Deserves Better Than Shein. It gathered more than 80,000 signatures in a single week. Then came the street protests. On October 10th, around 150 BHV employees gathered in front of the store and held a 3-hour work stoppage, with all the unions on board. Their message was simple: Shein's arrival is a threat to the future of the store. They also blasted Frédéric Merlin, saying he was talking nonsense. Even Paris City Hall jumped in. Nicolas Bonnet-Oulage, who oversees retail for the city, came in person to support the strikers, saying he was completely opposed to Shein's arrival. But here's the twist. The Shein controversy didn't create BHV's problems, it just poured gasoline on them. Since SGM took over in 2023, unions say the situation has been falling apart. 300 jobs eliminated, unpaid invoices piling up, and supplies working out. Le Slip Français, among others, has already left or stopped deliveries. And there's a reason supplies are furious. At BHV, brands don't collect money directly. The customer pays BHV, BHV takes a commission and then pays the brand. Except the payments stopped coming. One brand says its last payment was August 7th for sales made in March, and they're now sitting on more than 100,000 in unpaid bills. Cabaya, another brand, says it was already on the verge of leaving, and if Shein really moves in, they're gone. So now here we are. A sinking department store, unpaid suppliers, furious employees, Paris officials against the project, brands running for the exit, and in the middle of the storm, Frédéric Merlin is betting everything on a partnership with Shein, hoping to save a store that makes 270 million in annual sales but is bleeding from all sides. The real question is, can the partnership save BHV, or will it finish destroying it? But no, it's not about saving BHV. It's about something much bigger. Shein doesn't need those 1,000 square meters. What it wants is legitimacy, a Parisian address, a stamp of French respectability. Because if Shein can conquer Paris, the capital of fashion, it can conquer Europe. BHV thinks it found a lifeline, but in reality, it may have just offered itself as the perfect Trojan horse. And the battle for European fashion has only just begun. You will hear updates on this situation in my upcoming videos, so if you are interested, please hit follow. In the meantime, you might want to check out my other videos, like this one on Parisian chic, where I investigate who the Parisian girl is and what makes her so irresistible. Or maybe she's just a fantasy. Thanks a lot for watching. See you soon. Bye bye. Au revoir.